Philippines. So one thing we can guarantee you is that it will be the Philippines against Taiwan in the final. Let's go to our first matchup between Efren Reyes and Francisco Bustamante. Bustamante, the #1 seed, against the wily old Efren Reyes. He's 1-0 up, and he's well underway in this second rack. Let's join our commentary team now of Jim Weish and Sid Waddell.
Thanks very much, lads, and excellently set up. The old maestro and the world's #1 player who was formerly his pupil, and taking up that point about the rack slightly higher because the yellow one was going into the middle bags. Reyes, last time out, stuttered a bit, could not get a productive break. Now, if he comes to terms with a higher racking, which he seems to have done, those of us who stuck out our long Anglo-Saxon necks could get the heads chopped off. I tip Bustamante here because he can slaughter the break. That was based on how Efren struggled with his break. That, I think, could be the factor. If Efren gets a productive break, 1 or 2 even, this could be absolutely down to the wire.
Well, what a horrid miss from Reyes there. He didn't leave himself enough angle, and he knew it. But watch this. Just trying to pinch that pocket, and as big as they might be, sometimes you take liberties, and that one came up to bite Reyes.
Massive crowd here. Came and really got their bellies boiling when Jimmy White was playing. And maybe there's a few couples pool fans here in Cardiff. We're going to call that kid Griffith Reese Griffiths. We'll now maybe call him the kid Francisco Efren Griffiths in a few months' time, because these two blokes have certainly captured the public's imagination here in South Wales. Django, genius, cordial off the pitch, killer on that white surface. With the white on the blow. No fear in queuing and hurling the queued shots, Jim.
Well, certainly in terms of shot making, he may well have no equal in the world. Francisco Bustamante, in most people's minds, players and fans alike, the best player on the planet today. And Bustamante, by virtue of that horrid miss from Reyes, takes the second rack.
Referee Michaela Tab racks them up. Only 5-3. There were about 6 players at a straight run. They played 5-1-5 in that first round. Easy against Ellen. Ramby, that was a dice out. Very, very strong Euro player, represented Europe in the Mosconi Cup 6 months ago. Francisco Bustamante's rival earlier. Fabio Petroni, he's been playing in Brighton.
Right now, it couldn't be any better poise, Sid. 2 racks to 1 for Bustamante, and he's breaking off in the 4th rack to try and extend that lead.
And went to Germany several years ago and made the local pool players keel over in the Kiel area as he blasted them for really big Deutschmarks. Because make no mistake about it, this game is honed on the smell and colour of money.
A dynamite break from Bustamante there. Again, everything moving and pinpoint accuracy on that cue ball. Years of honing that have turned him into a force all over the world.
Yep, how do you get to the Cardiff International Arena? You practice. Left the rail a little more than you would have liked that one, Jim, but the very cute angle of the pocket took it in. Long bridge, no fear. Look at the length of the bridge here. The bridge is about 18 inches long. The control.
Well, Bustamante is yet to hit any bumps in the road. He's had a couple mistakes from Reyes, and he's pounced on both of them.
Jet-eyed predator in action. Pool genius, Bustamante.
He's got something to prove in this one. A man he probably grew up idolizing sits opposite. And Francisco Bustamante wants the throne.
And he's been sitting with Efren having a quiet chat in a Cornish pasty before the game, surrounded by fans. They have autographed every excusable part of the anatomy of some young lads. Heroes in their own country, and I would guess to the 100 million who play this game all over the world. 9-ball pool. A flash game. If you could hit the balls like these guys, you would be the pool hall Richard, as Rod Stewart once sung about. You make me jealous, but I worship you with your high collar and your high heeled shoes. Well, takes all sorts of play, but Busty here on so.
Is he ever? An anxious moment on the 8th, but in the end, home and dry. A 2-rack lead and 3-1 now in front in this race to 11.
Hunched there, like a guy just sitting, thinking about having a cigar and a drink and watching his corn grow. 5-3 he did in the early rounds. Best win there, I think, is Suke win. 11-7 there. He ran 8 straight to beat Suke, the former world champion.
Yes, and you'll see there a 9-8 nail-biting win over the world win Jimmy White. He's had a few anxious moments in this tournament too, has Reyes.
I heard murmurs of this man, the great Mike Massey was the first one to mention Bustamante to me when he'd been in a tournament in Vegas, and this guy hit this rack at 43 mile an hour, and he's about 9 stone wet through.
Well, a mistake, the first one from Francisco. And at 3-1 ahead, he'll work that one out, but watch that cue ball. He hit it good, Sid, but the pace of this table just drawing that cue ball into the center pocket. And he was watching it right off the start. Look at his eyes, right on it.
Right, just the lad to run for a 5 now, Efren. Crowd absolutely hushed and tense watching this battle of the maestros.
While Reyes patience in his seat, waiting for his opportunity. Finally it comes. Bustamante put 3 racks together with Reyes's miss. Now it's down to Efren to respond. There's no hard work here. It almost looks like he could leave the cue ball in the center of the table. The orange 5 is next. Side cushion to come back down for the 6.
Amazing loose hold on the cue. Starts to stun across for the orange.
Now he's got a choice, Sid. He can either play this left side cushion, right side cushion with a lot of bottom, or run around the table with a lot of inside English on the cue ball. And he's played it the way I thought first. Now he's got to clear the 9. Has he hit it hard enough? Again. I'm sure his heart was in his mouth for a brief instant.
Comes from a pretty rough background in terms of economic considerations. Place called Mexico. Pampagne's brought up in, played money pool from the age of 9. Still plays to take home the bacon, or Philippine equivalent to his family.
Efren had a real character building match en route to this semi-final. Akikumo Toshikawa in the quarters, 11-9 he progressed there, and he really wasn't on song. He's hoping he saved his best when he needed it most. And that's in this one, Sid. Both players certainly seem to be breaking an awful lot better today, Sid. Now, I don't know whether Efren can get through to the 1. If he can see enough of it, He may be able to play the combination, but another look at the splash on that diamond of balls. Neither one getting the 9 in gear, though. The 1-8 present a combination or a plant, but can he see enough of the 1 to get it?
Rules are you have to go for the low ball. This gives the 1. Plays the intermediate shot. And opens up the whole table now. Looking good for 3-3, Efren.
Only a glaring mistake is going to stop that scoreline. Reyes at 45 years of age, an icon in the Philippines.
And it must be said, of 96 players who came here, at least 35 players had him down as their paradigm of the game.
Well, he's such a gentleman. Rarely speaks unless spoken to.
Like, will you take a check?
Or cash. And there's a lot of people that Efren has faced off with in the game of 9-ball. I guarantee you said that their pockets thought their hands were crazy. They were digging out their cash so fast.
Well, the game is much more organised. The authorities playing a great role in its worldwide spread, but there's still that edge. Won't use the word hustler because the Americans don't like it. To them it means something to do with cheating. To us, Geordies, just means wide boy, sharp guy. Guy could limbo dance underneath the swing door. Exciting game. Now to be brought to balance. This one could go all the way. This race to 11 between two pool legends coming in with a bit of right-hand side.
And down goes the 9. And Reyes is putting pay to the bad break-off from Bustamante. Lost the cue ball there. He's been a bit lucky. Does he have a shot at the 1?
Well, it's ominous for Busty because Efren was having all sorts of trouble with his break last time out. All right, you're up 3 in sync on the trot against Sukier. But this, with this break in, it is enough to handle Bustamante, maybe even to beat him. Stuns the ball into the rail.
Got a lot of work to do here. Cue ball needs to be on the left-hand side for the red 3 next. You can see the 3 passes only to this pocket. And Reyes, with so much angle on the 2, he may have to play side cushion to try and get back. Or what he could do is try and play the 3 into the center pocket here. That may be his only option. A deep screw with a lot of left-hand side and position the key here.
Screw it is.
Little short of pace. He needed to be a little further down because the orange 5 is the wrong end of the table for him. The only thing I can see, if he decides to attack, he's got 2 choices. He's either got to bank this and run through with the cue ball, or a deep screw using the 9 with a lot of left-hand side off 2 cushions back for the 5. There you go. That was a much better pot than he made it look.
Well, a magician showing that there's nothing wrong with his wand here. Picking the right time to come good, just as he did the other day against Suke. He was sat in his seat, 7-3 down, cobwebs round his shoes, then suddenly Tinkerbell.
Well, early indications in this one tell me that Efren Reyes came ready for this match. He's made some great shots already. Left himself in very uncomfortable situations, and this one doesn't look to be any different. He's so cautious, he doesn't want to touch that brown.
Check.
Look at the cue ball power there.
Incredible.
Loaded up with side and swung that white back for the 7. Tremendous shot from Reyes. They label him the magician, and you've just seen an example why. That was his best break, and the first time he doesn't have a shot on the lowest numbered ball. He finally kept the cue ball in the middle. Didn't get a shot on a low ball. The 2 is the one he would like to have seen set up over a pocket.
And nobody's saying anything about where the rack is, how high it is now. And he's also getting the middle ball, getting the one to go in the middle. There's several factors looking very ominous for Bustamante here. Not least the scoreline, 7-3 down.
Well, one thing about it, Francisco's been shut out for so long, someone may have to remind him what the rules are.
I remember years ago the great Leighton Rees was probably watching this at Pontypridd. He was captain of a 3-man Welsh team, and I said, "What's the team talk?" He said, "Win, just win." It's about the psychology that Francie. You don't need no more psychology than the bludgeon here. If you get up, you've got to run 6 or 7. What an ask if he does indeed get out of the seat. Oh, what a shot! Absolute brilliance by the maestro, brings the crowd really. Oh, what a shot! He wasn't on for the first time, and he put that in like a tracer bullet.
The only problem is he's got an equally difficult shot here against the 3, a very fine cut. And look at him spin that in around the back of the 4. This is phenomenal stuff.
Well, Merlin the Wizard used to cast a few spells down on the banks of the Taff. This is a wizard at work, weaving magic with that wand of wood.
The form that Efren Reyes is showing us right now is unbelievable, Sid. This is the stuff that legends are made of right here.
World semi-final against a guy who most people rate the best player in the world, Francisco Bustamante. And this man is doing just what he did to Suke, stringing them together like a blind fisherman mending a net. Experienced dominant here. Sometimes he wields the rapier, sometimes the skein do. Sometimes it's as fine as the smallest darning needle. Precision, immaculate control. Meanwhile, Busty sits and contemplates. Forgets the rules.
Well, this is the first time I've had the pleasure of seeing someone use that cue like a magic wand. But this is something to behold, the way he's playing right now. He is in the zone. 8-3, 7 racks in a row. The long one. And he's going to be bridging right over the 4 ball. He's 5 racks clear, so certainly he's got to be feeling comfortable. He's got to be in that zone right now, where a lot of the initial pressure and nerves are gone. He almost stalks the ball, Sid.
And interesting fact in the makeup of pool players is they, I wouldn't say they were grudging in praise, but they do not dish it out lightly. And I don't think any sport I've ever covered, from darts to domino toppling, have I ever heard of anybody talked of in the venerable terms of this man. He is an all-round legend.
Well, he's just given us an example that he does in fact have a pulse and he is human. The first slight mistake in position, he's got to come up with a great shot here to get from the 3 to the 4.
You were saying, Jim?
Never doubted it for a minute. Now it almost looks like he can pot this and screw between the 9 and the 6. Off the side cushion, back out for the orange 5. And certainly if Francisco even gets a chance, and the way Reyes is playing, I don't know if anyone thinks we're going to see Bustamante play another shot in this. But he's been sat down for so long, how could he possibly feel like he still had a touch for the table? His concentration level, it almost looks like he's playing every shot with Reyes to try and maintain that high focus that these players need. And I suppose in one sense, he has to do that, Sid. He's got to maintain that and hope and pray almost for that one mistake to let him back in.
Doesn't look like coming though, because you ran a very similar game. He did 8 racks from 7-3 down to beat Suke. This then for 9-3 to put him 2 away from the final. Bustamante scratched off a break. And now the maestro is 9-3 up. Can Busta answer? Will he get a chance?
Francisco Bustamante led this match 3 racks to 1. He scratched off of the break. Little was he to know that he is still not had another chance to get back to the table, and he is trailing 9 racks to 3. Efren Reyes, the magician, only needs 2 more racks to book his place in the final.
You know, John, you and I were sitting out there in the stands watching the first part of this match, and I've just never seen anything like it. This is why he is probably the greatest 9-ball player, the greatest pool player that ever lived.
Doesn't play on all of the world tournament scene now though, Efren Reyes. He still has that respect. We've said that throughout this week. 96 players came here for this tournament, and the majority of them put Efren Reyes as their favorite player.
Well, at the beginning of this match, I was saying to you, John, that what this is about for Efren is to assert once again his supremacy as the #1 player in the Philippines. There's a lot more at stake here than money. But at this point, he's asserting his supremacy as the best player on the planet.
It is very much like a master with his pupil, though. Francisco Bustamante is well regarded as the current best 9-ball player in the world, but there's nothing he can do against this. This is just a lesson from his previous master, is it not?
This is the best 9-ball I've ever seen on TV. And I was there racking the balls when Earl Strickland ran the 11 racks. He didn't play this good. He made 4 9-balls on the break. These have all been run-outs from the break. Several of the racks have been extremely difficult racks.
That's a very good point there, Jay. We have seen a lot of good runs in this tournament, a lot of the time when the balls are breaking easily. Now, the balls aren't breaking easily here, but Efren is making some very, very difficult run-outs look supremely easy.
He ran out of rack there earlier where he had to bank that 2-ball off the end rail. There was no shot. How he found that shot, I have no idea.
This is just heavenly pool. This to go within 1 rack of a final place. Down goes the 9. Efren Reyes continues this almost certainly best ever run of 9-ball ever televised.
I don't know what to say about this one, John. I'm speechless. This is the best pool I've ever seen by far. And I've seen Earl at his best. Well, he's got to come with a combination now, right from the beginning.
That's
the
1-7.
Right.
This could be the shot. I think he can see enough of the 1 to play the combination. But this is not easy.
Believe me, at this point, Efren's not looking for any safeties. He's just shooting. If he makes this combination, it's all over.
Well, the crowd appreciating that run was just a phenomenal run from Efren Reyes. Bustamante smiles as he comes to the table.
You think he can run 8 racks right back at him? That would be something.
Jay, if that was to happen, what sort of a match would we be watching? He's definitely got a great chance of running this rack.
He's been sitting in that chair for 45 minutes. I'm surprised he can get up to the table at all. Well, these players saved their best for the last, John.
Incredible games so far. Francisco Bustamante comes to the table. The last time he was at the table, he was winning 3 racks to 1. He had the break. He was feeling pretty confident, in a good mood. Yeah, I'm in control here. Lost the white ball off of the break. And the next time he comes, he finds himself 7 racks down.
You know, Efren's been struggling all week. He did have that one match where he ran 7 racks, but he's been kind of spotty in his play. He's saved his best for last. This is vintage Reyes right now.
That's right, Joe. We had heard throughout. Efren had struggled all through the group stages, his early knockout games. He was just doing enough to get through, but he hadn't really had that fluency that Francisco Bustamante had been showing in the tournament. But every single player I spoke to said, just don't be surprised. Just do not be surprised if he just switches and turns on and runs a match. Well, we've seen it twice from Efren Reyes. But he does have the biggest break, doesn't he? The biggest break in 9-ball pool.
Unquestionably.
This break that we're watching here.
Come up a little tough here on the 1 ball, John.
Yeah, he got the power, but you could see there he got a little deep into the cue ball, and that means that he hasn't been able to stop the cue ball into the center-ish of the table. He's come back and really has left him no shot on the 1.
He wants to shoot the 1 ball all the way down in the lower right corner. Like, can I show you on this one here? All the way down here into this corner. That's where he wants to shoot the 1. He doesn't really want to play safe here.
Well, there just is no safety against these two guys.
He did play it safe.
That looks safe, but don't be surprised if Efren just kicks out of this and pots it and clears out and runs the game.
Frankly, I'm surprised he didn't shoot at the ball, because I don't think you really want to let Efren come back to the table anywhere. Efren will kick 3 rails and hit this ball. But the brilliance of Efren will go here, there, and here and hit this ball. But Efren not only plays to hit the ball here, John, he plays to knock the one ball away and leave the cue ball hidden somewhere behind other balls. That's how clever he is and how skilled he is. That's it, that's it, that's it, that's it. And as you can see, he didn't leave Francisco a shot.
Well, I think Francisco might be forced into, or tempted by the bank here, into the top left-hand bag. I think he needs to take this opportunity.
He's either banking or he's cutting it in the upper right corner. He may cut it straight down the table here, right along the rail. Just like that. Missed it rather badly, actually.
Well, Jay, I think that was possibly a harder shot than the bank there. The bank would clearly pass. Chance here for Efren. I mean, there's no easy shot. He could bank the ball back into the side bag. Is that what he's looking at, to come right, bring the white around the table? No, it doesn't look like he is. He might be banking it into the top left-hand corner. Well, that's safety.
Another safety.
Safety.
Another safety.
Yes. He doesn't need to take chances, of course. Efren, the rating 10 racks to 4.
Yeah, Efren doesn't want to take any chances here. And Efren's got all these weapons in his arsenal. Not only can he run out from anywhere, but he plays the best safeties of anybody, and he kicks the balls better than anyone.
Well, it's a good escape by Francisco, but you have to think that the chances of him coming back to the table with Efren in this form are slim.
Nice opening here for Efren. He's got to gently roll the one ball in the corner pocket and let the cue ball just drift back up towards the middle of the table.
Yeah, he was just looking there at where he wants to leave the white for the 2, and it seemed to be by his stroke there. He'd like to use the cue ball pretty much where it is now.
I'm surprised if he draws this ball. I think he just needs to roll it in with center ball. We'll know as soon as he gets down on the shot, John.
Often see Efren just do a little cue action in the air, which is mimicking what he wants to play next.
You're right, he's drawing the ball back. Just means he can hit it a little bit firmer. Oh, it's a kill shot. They call that a kill shot. He uses low English, makes the cue ball dive. It's a little more secure way of pocketing the ball. Nobody does it any better than Efren.
Worked perfectly for him there. Nicely on the 2 into the side. Chances of Francisco getting back to the table, Jay?
Not good. Only difficult ball Efren's got is the 6, tied up against the 7.
However, if he can get nice and straight on the 5 and just stun the cue ball, leave it where the 5 is, he's got a perfect shot on the 6 into the center bag. So the 5 really helping his positional play onto the 6.
You called it exactly right, John.
Just these 5 balls for a place in the final of the 1999 World Pool Championships. He hasn't shown his best form throughout the whole tournament, only when he needed to. That's the sign of a true champion.
I feel sorry for whoever he plays in the finals, I'll tell you. They're in for a long afternoon. Or night, as the case may be.
Well, he'll be up against either Ho Ping Chang or Fong Pang Chao, that all-Taiwanese clash in the second semi-final coming up right after this match. Both of those players very accomplished, but I think you'd probably have to say that Efren would be going into that final as favourite. Just these 2 balls to win the semi-final of the Philippines. An absolutely incredible match is now over. Efren Reyes in scintillating form